Hello, 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 and it's Joe Ventures back here again, and we are now looking at the little live stream they did today for Jurassic World Evolution, Return to Jurassic Park. Starting off with a bit of a bang here, we get to see another view of our amazing Jurassic Park gates, and that just looks incredible. We've all seen it a couple of times, but it's just so iconic, and you cannot really fond over that. I think I'll quickly just mute this, and then we'll see here. Here's another good look at the Jurassic Park Triceratops. We can see that the texture just looks so much better because the one in Jurassic World just has a very rubbery texture, but here you can see all the scales here, and it's pretty accurate to the model itself. You can see the little scoots at the top. I love it, and it's just looks incredible. You can see the modifications they made in the face, and it's just we've already gushed over this a bit, so we'll next go to something a little bit more new. Here we see the Jurassic World, not Jurassic World, Jurassic Park 3 Brachiosaurus, which I did not expect would get a remodel, but it looks like it has. And even though in the movie it looks weird and ridiculous, it had its own charm to it, and you can really see the charm in these little remodels. We can see here, so here we can see how the head has been changed, and then there's even a Jurassic Park 1 for comparison. We see that it's got like a weird little, not filled out crest, almost like a Corythosaurus crest going on, with some big nostrils, but I do like the green pattern with the red going down and the white coming up. It's a nice pattern, and it's cool to see how it's changed through the different movies. But here the male here and the female here, so to speak. But it just shows how great the female looks. You can see the textures, and they both look incredible. The textures have really improved. And then we'll head back to the next one. Should be the Jurassic Park: The Lost World, 1997. Not Pteranodon, Parasaurolophus. We see here there's a lot more dull, like in the movie. It has this reddish brown stripe going down. We can see that in a little bit of a afternoon light, so it helps bring out the orange a little bit. I think we'll also keep carrying on. And here we see another quick little picture. I don't know why that's coming up. There we are. Here is another picture of the vehicles getting destroyed, of course. We've got a Jurassic World one by the looks of it, getting crushed by a Stegosaurus to add to that new mechanic. That I did the feature focus on. If you could look back, you see they explained more about how you'll have to be really careful about putting your vehicles in your enclosures with your animals, because some animals respond aggressively, like Tyrannosaurus, looking like Stegosaurus will as well. Triceratops in the last one did, so we're going to be very careful with that. And here we move on to just some chats. And now here we see a nice look in game of the restroom. You can see there's a little thatch roofing going on here with the bamboo walls going on in here. You can see it's a little bit bigger than the other one, but as they talk about it, you can see the plants swaying and the wind and such. So just need them to turn around. There we are. We can see here that they put a lot more detail around, and here they say that they've made a lot of the buildings a little smaller on average, just so you can use more space in your park, because that's what a lot of people were asking for. Let's see. Move the ready. Here we are. They're starting to move it around. And in the background there, you can see the Jurassic Park 3 heavy steel fence that was used in the Spinosaurus scene. And this building in the back here is like your ACU. I don't think you have like a helicopter, because they mentioned later in this video you don't have a huge helicopter. But that's why they added like the ability to tranquilize from your vehicles and match and such. And here I assume is the helipad where in this DLC the guests will enter your park. we see a little bit more of it. Get a better view. We can see what's coming up next over here. Whoa. I like how they added all these little plants around it, because it would be nice to hide it in the terrain, but you can't really hide it too much. We don't have that kind of fidelity to put it like that in game, sadly. Let's move on, and here we come up to the Great Visitor Center. And then we see it's basically one for one from the movies. You can see here the thatch roofing and the fossil archway, and and you can see the whole design of it. And we can see here the little waterfalls going down the stairs, helicopter pad in the back, a little view around. It looks incredible. And here they're talking about how there's only one shot in like 1 minute 50 in the movie, 1 hour 50 in the movie, where they managed to find a whole layout of the park, and they use that to make this design to make it as accurate as possible. So you can see here that where they've added like the Rex statue, and the final showdown would be in there. This is where the kitchen is, and for the kitchen scene with the raptors in the first movie. And here would be the little area with the big mural where guests would come and eat, with guests also sitting on these benches and such, which is really cool to see, because we haven't really had benches yet, but it's cool to see that they're at least like got them with the buildings. It just adds a little bit more to the aesthetic. Yeah, they're still talking about it. Get a better look. Here they move over to they're just chatting and chatting. Now here they move over to the aviary. Here they are, yeah. And we can see here it's a lot more JP style. You can see here that it works kind of like a hatchery. The hatchery is actually, there's a big box here where they'll come fly out, which you'll see later. But you can see here that it's got like this reinforced like mesh around it with pillars and everything to make sure they don't get out. And we can see there's a little viewing area down here. And now they are mentioning in the video that they didn't want to put this on a cliff. They just made it round so you can place it anywhere in your park, which I think was a good idea. And then you can see them just looking over it. So it's really nice, the design in there. You can see the tall pillars and stuff. And they're inspired by JP3 when they were little kid, I think his name's Eric, jumping around on those little platforms. And then you can see here that the hatchery here is this little red building. A better view of that. That's where the Pteranodons will come out and fly around and such. Let's give you a nice little round. Looks very, very nice. See a little bit better view. Just hope they should be hatching a Pteranodon very soon. So here's Pteranodon. Oh, perfect timing. So you see, you put it in a hatchery like a normal hatchery, and then it'll do that animation. Flies out, comes, sits on a platform. And I apologize for the quality. It's the stream that was not 100%. That not me. So this is out of my control. But you can definitely see here how a good idea of how it works. You can see these middle walkways similar to the third movie. Obviously a lot less run down and broken. And while here they're quite new and looking nice, and you can see people walk there to be for staff and such, I think. And you can see here's it just sitting there and calling, and this is one of the looped animations it does. Oh, and you see the base rating, and you can fill it up with 6. And these 9 different camera points where you can look around in your aviary and see different angles of your animals. See like a little, don't know what that is down there, but I assume this is where they can go in and be fed and taken care of. These are little platforms there they can sit and relax on, along with these little pillars here. See another walkway. I assume this is mainly just for maintenance, because this is a pretty big aviary. Oh, you can see him flying there, landed on the next one. The thing is that they're all on a different looped animations, which is okay. You never really notice. It's very slow, so that you see coming down, sitting here. Interesting if they came down and had drinks and such. It's just a little loop, but that's okay. Look, swimming, flying around. Phew. Coming back and sitting on there. I don't think you'd really notice it in game because you'd have like 6 more, and I think they're going to hatch a few more, and you can see them all flying around at different times. Oh, then we get a better look. Coming to sit on one of those platforms I mentioned before. This one is doing a preening animation by the looks of it. Now a lot of birds will do that to help clean their feathers and pick ticks off themselves and such, so I assume pterosaurs would do something similar. Well, scientists assume I'm not a scientist. Or a paleontologist, so to speak. You can see it's looped a little bit, but that's okay. Assume it'll move soon and do its own thing. See, slightly different one. I don't know if they put a different colour on, but this looks very accurate to the JP3 one. The only other one is the Lost World one, which is only seen at the very end of the movie. And we'll see soon there might be something that looks a little similar to that. See, it comes back to the platform. Be interesting to see what this means for the future, because you could easily have other looped animations. You could put like a, not just Pteranodons, but Dimorphodon from Jurassic World, which that would be cool to see if they made like a Jurassic World version that's more glass paned and such. And then maybe they can add other species like Quetzalcoatlus and other really interesting cool pterosaurs that may not be canon, but would be interesting. Like you probably only have like 3 or 4 Quetzalcoatlus in there because they're basically giraffes with wings. Maybe some other like Jessenbergia, which is kind of similar to Pteranodon, but that would be interesting. Aliaqua. There's really a Pterodostro would be a good one. That's like a filter feeding one. That would be interesting. That could, obviously I don't expect them to expand into this too much, but it's still really cool that we get to see flying dinosaurs or pterosaurs, which obviously they're not dinosaurs themselves. They're closely related, but not dinosaurs. Just really cool to see them in a game where they're canon. Be cool to like complete all the animals from the first roster. And here we see pretty much one of our last dinosaurs from the roster of the movies, the Compsognathus, or Compsognathus, however you want to pronounce it. And you can see just how tiny it is. Look, you can barely see it. And plus it's green, so that doesn't help. So now he's running off. I think the quality of the stream doesn't help as well, but you can get a... But we'll see more high quality pictures. I've got some coming in. You can see a nice look at him. He's quite cute, isn't he? I think they were quite cute in the movie as well. And he's running around doing things. And remember they were talking on in here where they made the animation where they go in and then take a little bit of meat and jump out because the feeders could be off at times, so they try to minimize that by just like them running on, grabbing it and eating off there. Plus I think that adds a little bit more personality to them because they're quite small and skittish, kind of like a cat. You can see them grab a bit of meat, pull it off, and then eat it as smooth as they can. You see him running around there. I think I'll quickly go and grab my little buddy. He's just a very happy boy, aren't you, eh? Okay, we'll continue. running around, a little bit of socializing. Because in the movies they are very social. Obviously using them to hunt in packs. Which isn't JWE yet. Hey? Now he's running about. Talking about feeders and such. See, now you can barely see him. Where are they? Where have they gone? Where have they disappeared to? We don't know. And here we see they move over, and this is the range outpost. Now that they said that there's no ACU in the first movie, so they didn't really add that in, so that's why they added the ability to tranquilize from your jeeps. You can see the helicopter coming in. They really did put a lot of work in this DLC. You can see the Jurassic Park themed gate, which looks a little bit more red, contrasting to the more bluish of Jurassic Park, of the Jurassic World. Just gonna put my butt back in his tank. You can see the Velociraptor there. I think that's the 1991 one right there. He's running around. They're trying to get them to attack it, but it didn't really work out well. See, that's a 1993 one. Get your food, buddy. And they're really desperately trying to get them to attack it. For whatever reason, they didn't want to in this stream. Just watch, and then you'll get to a nice little surprise. And we'll socialize them there, and then we can see in the foreground. We'll wait till they come a little bit closer. He'll just run past up through here. You can see here the 2001 from Jurassic Park 3, that the male raptor. He's coming past. You can't really notice it on the quality of this stream, but he does definitely have his quills. And there he's running around doing his thing, as the usual. We see a couple of 1993 females, I think, and 1997 one that's a little bit more pale. Gets a nice picture in. And he's just tranquilizing them at the Mo. There's a species profile. We'll skip through a little bit. See what they've been making in this park, and see Mr. DNA. This is the 6th mission, so this is when you come back from Isla Sorna and try and open up the park for visitors. I'm not going to play too many of these. I just want to get a look at some other things that they show off in here. You can see here the hotel. It's a lot more thatched roofing. I really like that look. It's like what do you call those? I forgot the name of them, but you can often see them in like safari lodges. That's it. Safari lodges like you'd see in Africa. It's very African based, and you can see the geothermal power plants here, and more hotels and gift shops and such. They've really streamlined the buildings, and they're just looking for compies to sell, not sell, to bring into your park. See more and more. They're chatting about grabbing a Spinosaurus, and here they are making. They're showing off the signs here. You can see there's kind of for every dinosaur that was in Jurassic Park, they're kind of adding their own sign. But the ones that have like a medium carnivore, large carnivore, sauropod, ceratopsian, ornithopod, things like that. They're adding signs like that to give you a little bit more decorations, which is really cool. I like having more decorations in my park. Like the more creativity and more things I'm able to express, the better. And here we can see how tiny just the enclosure really is. It's huge for a Compsognathus, but For the other animals, it's really, We see here that when he brings them in, let's see if we can go up to there. Probably come up here soon. He's going to, you can see Jurassic gift shops down there, that little one there. See Mr. DNA, coming in. Who doesn't love Mr. DNA? He was so iconic in the first film. It's the Helipad. So you see, look, he transports them from Isla Sorna and puts them in his Compsognathus paddock he made. So you won't be incubating dinosaurs actually on Isla Nublar. You'll be bringing them in from Isla Sorna, and you have to airdrop them to your park, which makes a lot more sense and is also canon. There we see, now we see them in a bit of a different line. The stream quality is just not that good, so you can't really make them out too well. But you can see there, he's running about, loving life. Already seen a little bit of that. See if we get something from him eating from the feeder. So you can see he's sitting there. See if we can get an animation from the feeder. Oh, yeah, there we are. Jumps off. Has a little bit of a feast. Can't you blame him? He's a hungry boy. Now he's moving on to showing that the visitor center will work as like a hub, so you won't need to build a research building or exhibitions and fossil building. You'll all be lumped in this one visitor center. Now they're having a look through the other buildings we've got. Got Jurassic gifts, and don't know what the other one is. The hotel there. It's the helipad where all dinosaurs look that come through. These all look like canon dinosaurs. I don't know if Brachiosaurus is canon, but interesting to see that in there. We see that, yep. We didn't get any news of a new Mamenchisaurus, which I'm actually a little bit disappointed about, because our little Mamenchi, even though he's only seen in like one scene in one movie, he was just a very iconic scene when they drive right under his legs. So I really hope they manage to make him in the future. Also, Gally's getting a bit left out. Like, the Gallimimus, iconic. Because the one in Jurassic World Evolution looks horrible. I gotta be honest. Unless they've kept something for a reveal later, I'm sure they will. Just complain enough, because they tend to really like to listen to community feedback, which is really good on them. So just state your opinions, and they should cave in eventually. Not the main way, of course. It's just we want what's best for the game. I see he's dropping them off now. Should be coming in. You see there. Should move over. Let's see what else we got here. He's doing more research. See, he's researching the aviary here. And here we can see it getting built. He's placing it now. This is a pretty big building. Will hold some pretty big animals. Pteranodon got to about 7 to 8 meters wingspan. It's a pretty big animal. Similar in size to some extinct birds like Argentavis and Pelagornis. Looks like a wedding cake. It's all white. So there again, have a quick look at the console. So there you see the park tours. They brought back the tour vehicles from the first movie. which is epic. You see we get an interview there. CD-ROM. Have a look at the sign. Seeing him driving through the enclosure. Just get a bunch of different views. See a herd of dinosaurs down there. See some Parasaurolophus and some Trikes, along with some galleys. Interesting to play this mission. I'll have to play it on the channel. Just watch through. See them. Just chilling. Let's see what else we got here. So they've upgraded the. So they have like a C radius with binoculars, and the binoculars is kind of like a viewing area and a viewing tower in one. So when you have the binocular perk, you'll be able to see pretty much everything around you in a huge radius around you. So that helps with the visibility for the guests. So they really did have put their work into this. And we see it in a different light. We see more buildings. So you can really see all the JP Jurassic Cafe. So that'll fill your food and drink needs. This will be your for gifts and such, of course. That's why it's called Jurassic Gifts. There's a restroom there. I think that actually works quite well. You can make like a little hub in your park, and then the rest can be all enclosures. So he's just going more and more with the Pteranodon as well, so he can get up there. Then he releases it. See another view camera. I think there's about 9 in this big aviary, so you get all sorts of different views and take really pretty screenshots of all your animals. And you see here that the success rate and such. It's kind of like just a heavily modified aviary. Hatchery. So you hatch them and they go in there. So you can have up to 6 in different patterns and different. They're doing a giveaway here, but you can see these are different patterns that you can give them, just like any other dinosaur. So he's filling it up. 6. Oh, and they're in the end. We'll just have to wait for him to incubate all them. Looks like they're actually doing pretty well. Got 14 million bucks. 15 now. See more coming through. You fly. Oh. And you release them all. We'll give them a slow clap. Just gonna make all their way through as they look at them. See, there's a back at the first platform there. Then he makes his way, flies across to the next one. See it's really weird to see them fly like that. Most likely in real life, they so you can see the quadrupedal launch, which is actually true to the animal in life. They're believed to have launched themselves similar to bats today. Especially when they got quite big, they need a lot of power to get off the ground. So like that. Like a big Quetzalcoatlus can get 250 kilos. Oh, they completed the second to last mission. So now that they've moved, and then they chat and talk, and that's the end of that. So we'll see here, some dude actually got a bunch of leaks as of the 5th to 12th, which was today, and like opposite of the world, because for me it's the 6th. But here we see, these are a bunch of pictures that were already known. Like you see I already did this in like my first Jurassic World Evolution Return Jurassic Park video. One of these ones. And then we see here a couple new ones coming down here though. We see this looks like a buck. We'll have a close look at that. Buck Tyrannosaurus from the Lost World. I gotta say this one looks really good. I like the looks pretty accurate. The you can see the better textures, like the more wrinkly rather than rubbery. See the skin going like the wrinkles, and it looks really good. And you can see like the green and the yellow that really complements it. And I think this is meant to be the female version of that. It's quite similar, not too different from the one in the first movie, just a little bit more, has a similar pattern, just brown. Now we see what everyone was wanting. Of course, here we have the Lost World Tiger Raptor. And we can see it looks pretty accurate to the movies, it's just that the model it's based off. It's weird because Jurassic World has these like weird shoulders with their dinosaurs, and you can really see how that's affected this model. It looks really good though. I think it's just more the issue with Jurassic World. Here we see the female for the 2001. You see the splotch patterning. Really brings back a little bit of J-Pog as well. You can see a little ridge there over the fenestra. I think this one looks really good. The texture is a little weird, but that's Frontier sometimes. They don't good close textures. And here's the male. Even more evidence of the quills. See there? And this one looks really good. I really like the look of this one came out. And they even changed the eye. It's got like a rounded pupil rather than the slit one. You see there's a better look at the back of the head. He's got really noticeable quills, and you can see the textures. I think they did a really good job with that. And here we got a really good look at the little Compy. And I think the Compy looks adorable. Wouldn't you agree? I think he looks quite cute and skinny and lithe. Fits well in the grass, and it looks like they're running away from him. Oh, wouldn't you? And here we get the Jurassic Park 3 Anki skin. It's weird that it didn't get a remodel, because if you compare it to... That's not the right one. No. If you compare it to the... No, I think we're on the wrong one. The Jurassic... I think I'll have to pull it up in my pictures. Here we are. Here we see the Jurassic Park 3 one. Like the colors is just not quite as dark as this, and you can see that it hasn't been remodeled. It's just a skin. It's not a retexture. It's not retextured or anything. Either if it is, it's very slight. We see it's like really dark across the back, like even darker than what it is there. Unless that's a variant. That's just like a light variant of the 2001 skin, and you can see the red hair. It's just not as bright and interesting, I think. And we'll keep going. Here's a nice picture of the... No, I don't want you. Go away. We see here the Jurassic Park T-Rex and eating a Velociraptor. Oh, that looks dangerous. There's a big chomp. And we see another one here. Looks like a tiger raptor eating up a poor Compy. Oh, poor boy, getting bored up. And here's a nice little callback. Here's a skin that looks like it's very inspired by the 1997 Lost World Pteranodon, which actually doesn't look too bad when you compare it, because you can see here compare it to this one. Oh, we'll just use some pieces of art. See if we can find one. Here's probably the best one. You can see that it has the blue around here in the corner. That's a little GIF as well, that helps. Quite strong blue. So you see here it's a quite strong blue going down his body. The model hasn't changed too much. I wonder if they got rid of the teeth. I think I can see some teeth, but it looks quite similar. It's good enough for me. I just think the Anki skin could probably be a lot darker, and that could actually use a remodel to just better fit the Jurassic Park 3 Anki. I also think we could use a 1993 Parasaurolophus skin, because that had a really interesting skin. If you saw in the movie, it was like a light blue and then a dark blue, and I thought that looked really cool. Though I think the ones really missing out are the Galley and Mamenchi, because a lot of people are really calling out for Mamenchisaurus, because that didn't really have a. It looks nothing. The one in game looks nothing like the movies. I think we could even look that up. In here, Jurassic Park, Mamenchisaurus. We could even compare that. So we have even here. So look, credit to Reddit for this picture here. We can see the Jurassic World Evolution Mamenchisaurus compared to the Lost World Jurassic Park one here. It's got more of a diplodocid looking body, not quite as tall, got more of a high back and a longer tail. So I think that would be cool to see. And also a 1997 trike would also be awesome, which is quite similar to the 2001 one that has like it's a lighter grey but also has stripes along its back. Yeah, I think other than those small, very minor nitpicks at the moment, this is going to turn out to be a very cool DLC, and I'll be wanting to play it on this channel. We've only got 5 more days left, so watch the space and keep in tune, and I will bring that to you soon. So I hope you liked this video and subscribe. Bye bye.